Hello everybody, my name is Hatch and today's video is part 1 of the video series where I will test the autofocus system of the Z9 on wildlife lenses that I have here at home. Here I have the 200 to 500 millimeter lens, the 300 millimeters 2.8 version 2, the 500 millimeters f4 VR, and the 600 millimeters f4 non-VR version 2 lens. When the Nikon Z9 just came out, there was lots of hype about the camera, and until now it's still priced as the best camera that Nikon ever produced. Since I got my Nikon Z9, I'm very impressed with the camera. However, I just say I'm still learning to use and to master it. One thing that I noticed that really impressed me with the camera is like how well it dealt with teleconverter. However, I was wondering if it's just something in my head trying to justify the big money that I spent, or is it really the case? And that exactly is the aim of this video, to measure thoroughly and systematically how fast the Nikon Z9 will focus using different lenses and teleconverters. In order to make the video clear, concise, and short, I decided to divide it in several parts, and in this first part I will talk about the setup that I used, and then I will already talk about the result from this lens, the 200 to 500 millimeters, coupled with the 1.4 teleconverter, 1.7 teleconverter, the 2 times teleconverter, and also stacked teleconverters. So first of all, about the setup. I used my bird book, which have a black woodpecker on its cover as the test subject. When I checked, the Nikon Z9 was able to recognize the bird on the cover as bird, so that is then also one reason why I picked it. I lit that book cover with two LED light panels and positioned it about 6 meters away from the camera. The camera and the lens were fixed on a tripod. So on a boom stand next to the tripod, I hanged my Nikon D850, which was set to record a movie at 100 frames per second, but then slowed down to 25 frames per second. I deduced then the focusing speed of the camera lens combo by measuring the time when the distance indicator just start to move, which coincides to the time when I press the iPhone button and the camera engage focus, until the distance indicator stands still, which then coincides to the time when the subject is in focus. I also put one LED panel right above the lens. And finally, I plugged also an Atomos recorder on the Z9 in order to record what the camera see at the same time. I used several autofocus mode during the test. First, I was using the one autofocus point, the 3D without and with animal detection, the small area with animal detection, and the large area with animal detection. My baseline camera was the Nikon D500, where I used the central focus point coupled with the single point autofocus mode. So I will compare then the finding from the Z9 with what I found with the Nikon D500, and then we will see which one performed best. So what are the findings? The Nikon D500 coupled with this lens without the teleconverter takes about half a second to rack the focus from infinity to 6 meter. And once I couple it with 1.4 teleconverter, the focusing speed dropped drastically. It became 2.5 seconds. And once I put the 1.7 or the 2 times teleconverter, of course, the D500 does not autofocus anymore. So now about the Z9. When you use the Nikon Z9 with this lens, no matter what kind of autofocus mode you use, the camera also takes half a second to focus from infinity to 6 meter, which is then exactly the same as I got from the Nikon D500. So not very special or surprising here. But how about teleconverters? Will it perform better? And how much better than the Nikon D500? Please have a guess and then let me know in the comment below if you were right or if the result surprised you. So this is the raw data from the measurement I made, and this is the result summary. So amazingly, the Nikon Z9 indeed does not care that there is a teleconverter attached to the lens or not. It was not just in my head. It is really that good. And that is quite something unbelievable for somebody who comes from a DSLR world like me, because teleconverter was always known to slow down the autofocus of the camera, but not with the Z9. It takes the Z9 half a second to focus from infinity to 6 meter, no matter you use a 1.4 teleconverter or 1.7 teleconverter or 2 times teleconverter. However, there is a little catch here. When I was using the 2 times teleconverter and engaging the animal detection function, the camera started to hang quite often. However, with the single point autofocus or the 3D tracking without animal detection, it works perfectly well, still half a second, and the camera managed to rack focus from infinity to 6 meters. I went crazy. Again, then of course, without the animal detection, I stacked teleconverters. I put 1.4 teleconverters behind the 2 times teleconverter, attach it on the lens, defocus the lens into infinity, did the measurement, and again, exactly the same thing, same story again. Just in half a second, and then the camera and the lens combo managed to focus from infinity to 6 meters. I went even farther, removed the 1.4 teleconverter. Instead, I attached the 1.7 teleconverter, touched it on the lens, And surprise, surprise, it just takes half a second for the camera and the lens to focus from infinity to 6 meters. So exactly like what I felt in the field. The camera doesn't care that there is a teleconverter attached to the lens or not. It just, I think, need enough light to recognize the subject, and if it could not recognize the subject, you can still revert to the traditional focusing mode, and then it will still be able to autofocus properly. We are here talking about f19 when you stack 2 times teleconverter with 1.7 teleconverter. This is astounding and unbelievable for people like me who used to use teleconverter with a DSLR camera, because with DSLR camera we all know that the autofocus slows down drastically as soon as you use a teleconverter, especially on a zoom lens like this. But for the Nikon Z9, it doesn't matter. It doesn't care how many teleconverter is stuck in there. It will just take the same amount of time to rack the focus in certain distance. So I think this result with the 200 to 500 millimeters is pretty amazing. I mean, I did not, honestly, I did not think it will be like this. I just thought like, well, yes, it is, the teleconverter will slow down the system a little bit, but not as much as in the DSLR. But not like, well, it does not slow down anything at all. Even with a 2 times teleconverter, even with stacked teleconverter, same thing, same duration of autofocus. This is just, I was like amazed. Just, I don't know what else to say. So I hope it clears things out for those people who are wondering if their 200 to 500 millimeters will perform well on the Nikon Z9. My recommendation is, well, just get the camera and you will be amazed. You will not be disappointed. However, be aware though that the learning curve from a DSLR camera to the Nikon Z9 is quite steep, even for a seasoned DSLR user. So be ready for that and enjoy it. So that is the first part of this video. Next time will be very exciting. I will talk about the fastest lens that I have. Not maybe the fastest lens out there, but the fastest lens I have. The 300 millimeters 2.8. And I'm very excited and very curious how it will perform. So until next time then, bye.